Tonight I'm going to introduce you to someone I've known all of her life, and even a few months before she arrived. She's been there to witness so many of the joys and sorrows of my life, and along with her sister and brother, Tiffany and Joe Jr., she's made me and my wife, Stephanie, very, very proud. Not just for her professional achievements in finance and education, but for the person, the daughter, wife, and mother she's become. I hope you'll stay to listen to this special conversation with Courtney Watkins-Portlock, my daughter, for some timely reflections on the state of education and the challenges so many children are experiencing growing up in a complex world. Stay with us. I'm not going to embarrass Courtney by reading her resume or talking about the ways her mother and I have watched her become a dignified, caring individual, a good friend, neighbor, teacher, someone who is expressing her faith in the most genuine and practical ways. But I did want to invite her on the program to talk about something she knows something about: education. I want to step back and ask her how her work as a teacher and school administrator might be able to help parents and grandparents make sense of this very unusual moment in American history. Courtney Watkins-Portlock, this is a big day for me, a huge day for me. Welcome to State of Independence.
Thanks so much, Dad. It's such a privilege to be here. I'm so excited to be able to share the screen or the stage with you.
Well, it's great, to share the stage with your child. I'm just glad to have you on, and you know so much. You and Tiffany, especially since you're both older than Joey, were involved in my first campaign for political office when I ran for Congress a million years ago, and you all were kind of the unofficial. We had a campaign manager in the staff, but you guys were kind of like the unofficial campaign managers. I recall you guys, little guys, just putting Joe Watkins for Congress stickers on people and cornering people and asking them to support your old dad. That was a great experience.
That was so much fun. What a tremendous experience. But before I actually talk a little bit about that, because I do have a story and something that stays with me now, even now, all these years later, from the experience of you running for office. I want to just say that you are the best dad in the world.
Oh,
I want
so sweet.
your
You're
viewers
so
to know that. I know I speak for my siblings when I say that. And I also will not forget my mom, who is the best mom in the world. Together, you are extraordinary parents. And I am trying desperately to be just a fraction of what you are and what you've done. And
you've surpassed us, sweetie. You've surpassed us.
Yeah.
and this is so wonderful. I don't think there's, I could have won the lottery, and I couldn't be happier than I am now hearing those words. I mean, these words mean more than all the money in the world. Although winning the lottery would be nice. I don't play the lottery, but winning wouldn't be bad. But your words mean more than all the money in the world, sweetie. And knowing that we have the love and support of you and your sister and brother is just wonderful. And we love you guys. I mean, you guys are just amazing kids. I have to give your mother most of the credit. I just tried to not screw it up too much, tried to stay out of the way. And she's always been awesome as a human being. But you children are just amazing. And we're learning from you guys, I mean, here it is. You're on the show. You're teaching me, teaching us, which is so wonderful.
Well, I'm really just kind of reflecting back what I've learned and what I've really discovered throughout the years, and much of which was planted really early on. So when I think back to your campaign and actually the night where you lost the general election, I think back to how, Tiff and I were crying on screen, we're crying on TV. And we were really, we were just really just upset. As you said, as your kind of unofficial campaign managers, we were really upset by the loss. And I remember later on when we got back home, having a conversation with you about me not wanting to go to school the next day. I was like, my friends saw me crying on TV. They saw this. I don't want to go to school the next day. And, you calmly just said, okay, if that's fine. But then what about the next day? And then I was like, well, maybe I don't want to go the next day. And then you're like, well, what about the next day? And so, and then I realized, oh, wait, I guess I can't not go to school forever. But one of the things that you talked to me about that night was really just facing something that seemed fearful, facing something that I, was afraid of, and I was worried. And, you talked me through kind of what it was and the ways to navigate the conversation, either of someone saying, oh, your dad lost, or the conversation of, teasing, or even someone saying a comment that I might not have liked. And just saying that you have that support and really reflecting on how do you navigate a difficult or challenging conversation at that really young age. And I'm so grateful for that, because that really helped me throughout my entire childhood and throughout my adulthood, of realizing that I can, when God blesses me to see another day, that means I can get up and face that day, fears and flaws and goodness and all. I can face that day. And it was in that conversation that night of when we talked where that was planted.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet, honey. God is good. He's able to do all things, and he gives us the strength sometimes when we don't think we have it. He gives us the strength. He upholds us even when we think we can't stand. And that's the wonderful thing about the God we serve. And I'm so glad you learned that at an early age. I remember you and Tiffany being in the car with Mommy and with me, and we were driving you all to school with one of your classmates with whom we carpooled often. And while we were driving to school, this is during the campaign, we were listening to the radio, and on came a campaign commercial against me, your classmate's father was the one who was actually doing the commercial, saying why people shouldn't vote for Joe Watkins. And I was amazed even then. You guys were little guys, little girls, but you were just so calm, and you didn't change expression, and you didn't get angry, and you didn't say anything mean, and you were just as sweet to your classmate as you had been before you got in the car, and I thought that was marvelous. And you got out of the car together, and never was a word said, and you all didn't change expression or even change the way you treated that sweet little girl. But in that moment, I was just so grateful for the way you and Tiffany conducted yourself, and I was hopeful that maybe some little sliver, with all of my faults and all of our faults as parents, me and Mommy, somehow or another, some little piece of Christ in us was translated to you guys, that you would continue to love that little girl whose father was on air, calling me everything but a child of God. So, and he was a friend, and still is one. We have to love people, even sometimes if they have unpleasant tasks to do. We just gotta love them anyway. But I was just so grateful for you guys. You guys are amazing. I mean, you really are. You and Tiffany and Joey are amazing people.
Well, we have such amazing, examples and role models in you and Mom. So it's just one of those things where, our response, our kind of our heart of inclusivity and loving folks, despite, their actions or what they're doing at the time, or if they're agreeing with us or disagreeing with us, or really on our side, whatever it is, you demonstrated that you love folks anyway. And that inclusivity of how you just, really take that in and say, they are more than this moment. They're more than what they think in this moment. They're more than what they're doing in this moment. And you have to have love in your heart for folks, because we all will find ourselves at one point or another in that situation where we're now opposing someone, where we are not being our best selves. And we hope that folks that are viewing us have the same love in their heart to love us anyway. and to accept us anyway. And so that role modeling, that demonstration of that from you and Mom is so powerful. There's countless examples of where you showed it. Because I don't remember a time where you ever sat us down and said, here's what you need to do. You need to do this. It was in your actions. It was how you treated people. You saw it. And that's just it. Parents,
you are so sweet, so kind, honey. You know, well, clearly, so you're somebody who just recently defended your dissertation. You didn't get that from me, obviously. You must have gotten that from Mommy, because all that brain power, all that intellect to do that doctoral study is wonderful, and is more than I could have ever aspired to. But and here it is. You find yourself in the world of education, and you're really a leader in the world of education. You're a thought leader, and you find yourself as an administrator in school. And so, tell me about your heart for kids. I mean, this has got to be a tough time for kids. I mean, you know, school education is a tough business anyway to get kids to succeed, to be everything that they were meant to be. But you add COVID to that mix, and all the challenges that come with COVID, you know, all the social distancing and the virtual learning and all that kind of thing. And I've just got to think that it's got to be a really, really tough time for kids right now in school.
Absolutely. It really is a tough time for kids. And it's a tough time for teachers and school personnel as well. It's very challenging to navigate all that's going on. But I think the patience and the listening and really understanding what is it that students are facing and how is it that they're able to navigate their day is really important. What we're finding is that some things that were happening pre-COVID are maybe exacerbated during this time of COVID. And maybe some things that weren't really seemingly as important pre-COVID are now becoming incredibly important during COVID. And so there are all of these pieces that we want to make sure that we're paying attention to in terms of a student's overall well-being. Of course, their health, but their health and wellness really encompasses more than their physical health. It also encompasses their mental and emotional health, and making sure that they feel fed to be able to take on the tasks of the day that they experience in school with their classes and with their friends and with their activities. So it's very challenging, but being in close contact, really being a listener, listening and trying to hear what it is that they're saying, what it is they need, and how is it that we can show up for students in ways that are going to be both respectful and responsible and attentive.
That's wonderful. I mean, I'm sure you have the pressure not only of students, but probably parents who are very concerned given the environment, and then teachers as well who work under you. How do you navigate that?
Well, it's similar in terms of just, you know, making sure that we're really listening to what it is that they need, what it is that we can be helpful with. It's really my job to be a support. I'm there to serve the students, the employees, the families, really to serve in the best way that I can, to understand how I can make their experience the best it can be, how I can hopefully get them to a place of being able to take full advantage of the opportunities that are in front of them. And of course, you know, for students, it also includes helping them reach a potential that they may have known that they've always had, or that they may not have known that they've had. But that also comes with employees and with families. Sometimes those interactions and engagement can really help them reach a potential or a new height that they didn't necessarily think they had or that they were capable of. But it's my job to really serve and make sure that I'm being the support that I can be in order to get folks to where they need to be.
Now, you spent time in the classroom as a teacher. How do you reach? I'm sure you got to have kids that were that you know, come to the class knowing that they're going to not be interested, and you know, how do you reach those kids? How do you reach a kid that's like there saying, look, I'm here because I have to be here, but I'm really not sure that I want to learn any of this. I'm not really so sure I want to be here and learn this stuff. How do you, is there any way to reach them, to engage them in a way that gets their interest and brings them out?
Absolutely. I think that it really comes from making sure that I'm getting to know each student in the class, and getting to know what interests them. There's a great article by Gonzalez and Mull and a group of researchers, and it talks about funds of knowledge, how students come into your classroom with funds of knowledge that they can share with you as the teacher. They can also share with their classmates. It's always been my belief that the classroom only works well if every single person, including the teacher, is learning and every single person is teaching. So even though I have the title of teacher, I have a group of students in front of me who are also teachers. And it's my job to learn from them as much as I would like to share with them the subject material or what have you. It's my job to learn from them as well. And so to learn what are their interests, what are the things that will actually get them to connect with the material. Because ultimately that's it. Like, there has to be some way that students are making meaning from the material that's being shared with what's going on in their world. So whether it's another class and they're making meaning and connections that way, whether it's outside of the classroom and they're really making meaning in their daily actions throughout life, or they can connect to it in terms of what they hope to do in their next steps. So there has to be some connection that they're making with the material, with the class, in order for them to say, like, oh, I actually might want to pay attention here, or I might want to get this. I've had students say that they haven't necessarily been interested in the material, but because of a student's passion, a teacher's passion, and the fact that a teacher really is interested in getting to know them, that they're now interested in what it is that they're sharing with the class. So again, that connection, that relationship is so critical in order to kind of pique a student's interest.
So somebody watching, they might see you and say, you know what, I want to be Courtney Watkins-Portlock. I mean, I want to be who you are. If you had it to be able to talk to the young Courtney, as we used to do, what would you tell yourself now, knowing where you are right now, a school administrator, somebody who just finished their doctoral studies, and what would you say to somebody who's or to the young Courtney, 20 years ago?
I would say be patient with yourself. Know that you're in a relationship with yourself. And that relationship with self is so closely connected to your relationship with God. And make sure that that relationship is really strong and healthy, and that it's there. And so the way that you treat yourself is a direct reflection of how you'll treat others. And so that's what I would say to my young self. I'm not sure if there's anyone out there that wants to be like me, or to be, I don't know about
No, but you
that.
do it all. I mean, you're not only accomplishing your career, but you're also a wife. You're a mother. You're a friend, and then also outstanding in your profession, in education, and you're a thought leader. So people want to know what you think all the time, which I think is really cool. This is so wonderful. Courtney, I won't forget this day. We've done over 50 State of Independence programs so far, and with apologies to all the other incredible guests, this has been my favorite show by far. I love you so much, honey.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, sweetie. We'll be right back with our producer, Jeff Coleman.
You're watching Joe Watkins' State of Independence on Lighthouse TV. Positively different. Share your comments about today's program in the comment box at joewatkins.org.
And now we'll talk to our great producer, Jeff Coleman.
Well, I'm taking a lot of mental notes, especially during your conversation with your daughter. First, what a remarkable individual, and congratulations.
Despite
to
me,
you.
isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Despite
exactly,
me. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm going to turn the tables on you and just ask you, I mean, I have 4 children, 16 and under, and I think people could look at you and your family and say, "That's there's got to be more to this. I don't get it. I don't understand it." How when you say the big picture, stepping back from the experience of raising children, to say, how do you shepherd children through those years? What's the big philosophy?
So support them and love them, but remember, you used to be their age, and put yourself in their shoes. And if you do that, then you can probably be helpful to them. So I always thought, my wife and I always thought that the most important thing, or one of the most important things while they were growing up, especially during the teenage years, was to have the kind of relationship where they would tell us anything. Because we felt that we could help them with what we knew. It's the stuff you don't know that comes back to bite you. You know, you didn't know your kid was doing that. You didn't know your kid was involved with this person. You didn't know your kid had this interest. And those are things that mess you up as a parent, and that it can sometimes harm your kid and maybe scar them permanently. So we felt that as long as we have the kind of relationship where they know we love them, we're not just their friends, just saying do what you want to do, everything's cool, but they know that we love them dearly and that we'll listen to them and that we'll actually try to work with them. So I'll give you an example. We had a situation that I'm sure lots of parents have where our girls who are close in age, they're older, they're about 8 or 9 years older than our son, came to us and said, Mom and Dad, we want to go to a party. And of course we asked the question, well, you know, is it chaperoned? But they were honest enough to say, no, it's not going to be chaperoned. This is the girl, we know her, she's in our class, her parents are going to be away, but it's going to be okay. And we said, no, that's a recipe for disaster. You know, last thing any parent wants to do is say, sure, head on over and have fun, knock yourself out, right? Yeah. You don't say that. But so they said, oh, but we want to go. And we said, no, not a good idea, don't go. And so they said, oh, you know what, you guys, you don't understand. You know, everybody's going to be there, and so, you know. So I said, you know what? Let's figure this out together. I said, you guys really want to go, right? And she said, yeah, we really want to go. I said, okay. I said, so let's figure it out. I mean, this is not something that your mother and I are excited about, but we know you're teenagers, and you know you only have but so many years to be a teenager. So you want to go to this party. I said, here's what I'm proposing. I'm proposing that I will drive you to the party, because I don't have a social life. I'm not trying to have to be popular, right? I'm your dad, and this is your mother. And I said, so I will drive you to the party, and I'm going to sit in the car right in front of the party the whole time. And I'm going to expect you, if anything bad's going on there, if people are drinking, if they're getting drunk, if they're, you know, engaging in illicit activities, I'm gonna trust the two of you to be mature enough to walk out of the party, and then we'll drive you home. I said, and if the party is fairly tame, well, guess what? Dad's still going to be there. I'm going to be right there. I'm not leaving, and everybody's going to be able to see me. I'm going to be sitting in the car in broad daylight for everybody to see me. So they said, ugh. I said, okay. All right. And they went to the party. And the party turned out to be okay. I mean, there was no drinking or anything bad going on. And all the kids saw you well, that's the only part that they didn't like, was they came out of the party and half their classmates were around the car talking to me. And they said, why are you talking to him? Which made you feel pretty cool. Oh, I felt really cool. He says, he's really cool. He says, he's not cool, he's our dad. You know? And so they were talking to me. But they appreciated that, because now as they have children of their own, they realize the challenges. You know, you want your kid to be safe. You don't want to put your child in harm's way, but at the same time, you have to figure out a way that they'll be happy. You don't want them to sneak either. You don't want the kid to say, okay, I won't go, and then you go to bed thinking everything's okay, and they sneak out a window and go to the party. That's a bad outcome. So I guess what I'm hearing you is you're almost doing the middle ground, or finding different ground than the parents who say, well, as long as they're doing it in my house, I'm going to let them do it. Right. And then on the other hand, completely, you know, being shut out to the world and everything that's in it. Right. That's an amazing balance to find. You want your kids to be whole people. You want them, if you raise them in a Christian household, you suppose that by the time they're 15, 16, 17, they're not adults yet, but they've been inculcated with those Christian values, and there should be some evidence of that in the way that they live and how they conduct themselves and the choices that they make. And so I suppose you have to trust God and trust them a little bit, give them a little bit of leeway to be the Christian people. You know, they did eventually come out of the party, and we did the same thing with my son when he came along. I told my son, I said, you know, if there's an unchaperoned something or other, I'm taking you and I'm not leaving, you know, and I'm bringing you home. And the first time I took him to one, the police showed up. And they didn't see him, but he got away. He ran, and then when I went and picked him up at his friend's house, he said, "Boy, Dad, that was terrible." I said, "Well, I told you, son. This is why you don't want to go."
Does he remember it when he watches this?
Absolutely. Well, he remembers anyway. We've talked about it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We laugh because now he and his wife are parents, you know, boys. And they're going to be at some point given the same opportunity when their boys get to be of age and say, "Hey, Mom and Dad, we like the car. We'd like to go to a party. We want to go here. We're going." Everybody. My son was the quarterback of the football team as a sophomore. The starting quarterback of the football team as a sophomore. So all the upperclassmen guys wanted him at this party, and so he said, "I got to be there, Dad. I'm the quarterback. I'm the quarterback." I said, "Well, I understand that, son." And so we worked through these things. And I think it just strengthened our relationship so that we trusted each other. And to this day, our kids are our best friends. I mean, they just...
I can tell.
Yeah, we love them.
Yeah.
We love them.
All right. A big question on faith and how different families do this very differently. In some, this is about a tradition. This is akin to being a part of a special, a country club, a church. How did you... to use this word shepherd again, how did you get them on the path to allow them at some day to be able to own their faith? And you hear your daughter today speaking about her faith in very real, practical terms. How did that work?
I hope it can be said that it's faith is better seen. You can better translate the faith you say you have by how you conduct yourself, especially inside your home, with your children who are under your power. And the amount of grace you have and mercy with them and kindness with them and to them and your capacity to be patient with them and not be quick to fly off the handle and to listen to them, all that matters. And it translates to them that the God you serve is real and wonderful and somebody they want to serve too because His Spirit is in you. And that's the challenge of parents. I used to tell the people in my church all the time, as a parent, don't just tell your kids shut up and sit down, clean your room, be quiet. Love them, talk to them. Remember, you were that age once. Yeah. Talk to them the way you wish somebody would have talked to you if they didn't talk to you with kindness and patience.
Well, thank you for sharing your daughter and your family's story. It's a wonderful learning experience for all of us who are just a few steps behind you in the journey.
I hope it's helpful, Jeff.
It was indeed.
Yeah, God is good. God is good. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's program. Send me a comment in the comment box at joewatkins.org. It means a lot to me and our team at State of Independence. I'll read and respond to each one of you. Today's conversation with my daughter, Courtney, like every show we bring you each week, is designed to encourage you to trust God wherever you are, to say, "Here am I, send me." I'm in for the big plan. We exist to equip you to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as you love yourself. If you're a struggling parent or a parent in desperate need of a second chance with your son or daughter, don't give up. It's never too late to get it right. From America's first capital, Philadelphia, I'm Joe Watkins. God willing, I'll see you next week.
That was a fun conversation.
What a joy. What a joy to talk to my child.
Have you ever done that before? Have you ever been on TV together or done appearances?
My son and I did a TV.
Joe Watkins' State of Independence is a production of Lighthouse TV, positively different. Made possible in part because of the support of viewers like you.